Welcome to the Big Movement Podcast. If you're ready to create results and make huge strides in your business, finances, personal development, and health, then you're in the right place. Pushing past excuses and powering through procrastination can be a challenge alone. Here, you'll get the support, tools, and knowledge you need to get to the level you desire in your business and life. Let's get started with your host, Byron Ingram.
And welcome to another episode of the Big Movement Podcast. Today we have a special guest. We have Monica Bloom from HeyMonicaB.com, who is an Ayurveda specialist who incorporated into her life with daily commutes and balancing things between being a mom, running her company, growing a business, and having a husband, toddler, and dogs, and even a cat. So if you're curious about how you can balance all these things and still achieve what you're looking for, then this is the episode you need to be listening to. So let's give a warm welcome to Monica. So welcome, Monica.
Thank you, Byron. It's great to be here.
Oh, glad to have you here. So tell us a little bit about your background, because you have a lot going on.
So I'm going to take you guys back into a really quick, brief history. I was a graphic designer for 11 years. And in 2008, I moved down to LA and I was looking for a job. And so I went to a temp agency and I was looking for a job as a designer. But at the same time, I was also studying Ayurveda, which is the science or knowledge of life. And I'll get to that in a second. So I went and interviewed for this job and I was like, actually, I really don't want to be a designer anymore. I want to help people with their life. Now, this was right when recession was happening. And I was like, I bet I could get them jobs. That would be closer to getting me to help people in their life. So they said, sure. So they hired me as an agent. So I became a recruiter for graphic designers and I started to get people jobs in the midst of a recession, which felt awesome. Meantime, I was still a student of Ayurveda and I was starting to practice it with myself and with my coworkers. And for those of you that word sounds totally foreign, Ayurveda is a sister science to yoga. But bigger than yoga, it's actually the rest of life. And if that sounds big and crazy, don't worry, because Ayurveda is actually customized according to who we are as people. So it's basically like life customization based on the rules and laws of nature. And I know that sounds kind of big and complex, but I'll break it down for you. It's kind of what I'm best at. So that essentially is the background. Designer and then recruiter. And all the while I was going to Ayurveda school and building my website online. It's called HeyMonicaB.com. And I started it because when I started studying Ayurveda, my friends and family were like, what? What is that? I think it's good, but I don't know. And so I was like, oh, dude, somebody's got to put this in like real language online and be able to talk to those of us who have a day job, who have family, who have pets, who have commutes, and all this stuff, and bring it into our lives easily and simply. Because I will not lie, Ayurveda is a huge medical science. You can go to school for 8 years studying Ayurveda. You can study it beyond that and go into specialties. So it has the weight of what like Western medicine does in India, right? But I talk about the diet and lifestyle component because it's what I know best. And it's what we can use easily to start to understand who we are as people and balance our lives through diet, lifestyle, stress management, exercise, etc.
Oh, now that is amazing in terms of the background on Ayurveda, because I don't think many people understand that there's the science behind it. Now, what attracted you to it originally? Because you think of all the different things people can study. They're going down the list like, I'm going to study. Let's say you have people going into like, oh, there's biology, there's chemistry, and then you're like, Ayurveda.
Yeah, right. Well, I was kind of old by the time I found, not old, whatever. I was in my young 30s. I was totally young, but I was in my young 30s. And what happened was I was going through my own healing. One of my favorite phrases is the best project you'll ever have to work on is you. And so I started working on Project Monica because I was feeling like I had old emotional baggage I never dealt with. I was grouchier than I felt like I should be to be my true self. I was depressed. I was anxious. I was worried. I was filled with all of these like negative emotions. Okay. So I enlisted, I was like, I'm done with this because life is long and I'm only like 31. Like I got to figure my stuff out. And so I brought in an acupuncturist, a therapist, a nutritionist, a life coach, and an energy intuitive. And with all those 5 things, I was like, ooh, this is a great project. I need help from other people. And so in the midst of Project Monica, I was sitting around sad in my San Francisco apartment because I lived on the top of a hill where the clouds were all the time. And I was sitting there and I was like, oh, I'm so depressed. I just want to disappear and like go somewhere else. I know, I'm going to look up a yoga retreat in India because that sounds exotic and like I could just disappear and go somewhere and kind of healthy. And so I looked it up, and you know how the ads, pop up on the site or whatever. Well, I got this Google ad that said enlightened. I don't know what it said, but I clicked on it and there were all these pretty cabins, and it talked about like healing therapies, and it talks about Ayurvedic foods. You'll be nourished with Ayurvedic foods, and there'll be massage, and there will be, therapies. And I was like, what is this? And I was like, I've seen this word Ayurveda before, but I have no idea what it is. I think it's good though. I think that this word is good. And so I Googled Ayurveda. And what I found before my eyes on some random website, I couldn't even tell you what it is, was everything in my core that I believed about our whole health, life, beings, our unique individuality. So what Ayurveda said was, one size does not fit all. We're all completely different. We have different emotions, different physicalities. Our bodies look different. We need different diet per the person. You need different exercise per the person. And all healing comes from the inside out, which means we're empowered with our own healing so long as we know the foundations and what we're doing. And I was like, ever get it when something strikes you and it strikes you to the core? And that happened, and I just started bawling. Like I just started crying and crying instantly. My head went down on my keyboard. I started crying. I paced around my little apartment, and I made some phone calls. And then 4 days later, I was enrolled in Ayurveda school. Wow. And it was like, boom, boom, boom. Like I was like, this is it. This is me all day long. Oh, I need to know what this is. And when I'm done with that, I'm going to tell everybody what it is, because we all deserve this. And so what I found was, from enlisting all those people in my small army for Project Monica, was that they totally helped me. But the biggest thing that I learned was that I could help myself. And that's what I did to get over my hump and start to feel more like myself, unravel old stuff, get rid of bad habits, all of those things that, we're all constantly trying to work on a daily basis. So anyways, that was the epiphany.
Now that's quite the epiphany, to go through that transformation. And it all started with that desire to make a change.
Right. Yes. For myself, because I knew it. I was like, no, this is not serving me. And being able to take that step and be like, this is not serving me, and I know better. I deserve more than this, and I'm not going to let myself go down a path that doesn't make me happy or doesn't feel like me.
Right. Oh, definitely. So now, after you researched it and you enrolled in school, what was that first big thing that you discovered that created a transformation when you truly understood Ayurveda?
Well, I have a failure mistake, which is kind of fun, when I truly understood Ayurveda, and I had a cold, and I had a chest cold. And this isn't how really I understood Ayurveda, but I understood the power of Ayurveda. And I had a chest cold, and the teacher was like, make this ginger tea. And you took a little bit of turmeric, some lime, a little bit of honey, and all in warm water, and put an eighth of a teaspoon of raw ginger. And I was like, whoo! I was like, this ginger is awesome. And so I was like peeling ginger. Like I had the potato peeler out, and I was peeling ginger. And I peeled off one piece. That was great. Oh my gosh. So here, let me just give you a quick tip. Ginger is heating and scraping, and it increases fire in us, which is good because we want a nice, strong digestive fire to help us digest our food. Digestion's everything in Ayurveda. And also, when we're sick, our digestion can get kind of dampened or doesn't work quite as well, doesn't function as well. So I just thought I was the smartest Ayurvedic student, thinking more is better.
Uh-oh. And
I added all this ginger to my tea, and I drank it. And remember, I said ginger is heating. And so if anybody's out sick, you can drink some ginger tea. But if you're using raw ginger, man, use that 1/8 teaspoon. Cause I woke up at 2 a.m.
Oh, no.
I had a puffed out right eye, like the size of a golf ball, was totally puffy and red. The right side of our body is hot. It's heating. And I also had hives all over my body. So guys, if you ever have a rash on your body or any red spots, red things, there's a lot of heat in your body. That's a body signal is there's too much heat. Well, my body was signaling heat all over the place. Too much heat. Well, my cough was gone. My chest cold was pretty much dried up and gone, but I'd overdone it.
Uh-oh.
And so I corrected. I drank some cool water. I splashed cool water on my face. I drank some milk, like anything that could help cool it down. But that was the moment that I was like, just because it's ginger, this is no messing around. Like, this stuff works. This stuff works, and I better be careful, and I better be a very good student.
Right. Oh, my God.
Yeah.
That had to be a shock.
Yeah. I looked in the mirror, and I was like, oh, too much heat. And then I freaked out. And then I went to school, and I told everybody what I did, and they all had a good crack up over it. And they were like, see? And then my teacher was like, she cannot have too much ginger. Not too much ginger for her. She's too much ginger. So anyway, that was like, boom, like Ayurveda telling me, don't you screw around with this stuff. This is real knowledge. This is real science. And I keep it very lighthearted, obviously. I believe there's humor that you can put into anything. I think life is funny. I think learning is fun. But I also take a very serious approach to it. I don't overpromise. I don't push things that don't make sense or aren't really true. I'd rather err on the side of caution and say, hey, just go to bed by 10 o'clock. That's all you got to do. Go to bed by 10. You'll feel a lot better. If you can do that one thing for like a week, you'll probably be feeling a lot more energized than you were before.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Definitely.
Yeah.
And, it's amazing if you think about it, that here it is, you leverage something, a tea with ginger in it to feel better, although you did kind of put yourself on fire in the process.
Right.
But how many people out there are constantly looking for process solutions instead of, well, there's things that have been around for a long time in nature that if you just took the time to understand the combinations, you can get over most things that you can be experiencing. That's
right. And not only that, but with like Ayurvedic knowledge, like a foundation of Ayurveda is we prevent it. So many of us are busy chasing the cures for things or the imbalance. Like, I feel terrible. I feel weak or tired. I have heartburn. I can't poop, like all these things that people are going through. I have weight gain, blah, blah, blah. Like, people are constantly going through stuff, but that has already happened. So now we're looking for a cure. So what Ayurveda does is does both. It says, okay, we're going to help you fix this thing. But true Ayurveda doesn't fix the thing. It fixes the person. And we unravel the habits. So if somebody comes to me and says they have heartburn, consistent heartburn or whatever, I look at them as a person and I say, okay, who are you as a person? What are your habits? What are you eating? And then I'll decide what changes they can make to fix the heartburn and to avoid it in the future. Do you know what I mean?
Right. Oh, definitely. So now, speaking of heartburn, since that's something that so many people are experiencing, what is it that, let's say that someone, they went out to eat dinner someplace and, well, their stomach is turning into a symphony. What are some simple things that people could do to minimize it without having to start popping antacids?
Yeah, right. Well, first of all, you need to know if you are a hot-bodied person, because hot-bodied people, there's an energy called pitta, and pitta is the energy of transformation. It's made of fire and water. And anybody who's a pitta type person, you can go to my website, heymonicab.com, and look for dosha test and find out if you're a pitta. For those people that are heated, they should know to avoid anything that's overly spicy, overly rich, like, heavy red meats or something. And alcohol will also increase that fire and make it kind of reverse the flow, if you will. So when we eat, we're eating, food goes in, it all gets digested, processed, it goes through, it gets digested by all the tissues, and we poop it out. That's the flow. But if where there's a big fire in our digestive fire and we're overheated, the fire's going up and it's actually making things go the wrong way, which is why we feel that heartburn's coming up. right?
Right.
So if they're in a pickle like that, I mean, honestly, Ayurveda says don't suffer. A glass of milk would easily solve heartburn. You could also just stop eating, stop putting stuff in your body. Water's not really going to help at that point, but a little milk might help. Or take the antacid. Ayurveda does not believe in suffering. If you're suffering, you have a headache, you have any problem like that, take it, but turn around and look back and see what choices you might have made that may have caused it in the first place, and avoid making those choices in the future. One of the causes of imbalance in Ayurveda is wrong choices. And that means, hey, I have my sneakers here, but I'm actually going to choose to sit down and have a glass of wine and instead of putting on my sneakers and going out for a 20 or 30-minute walk, even though I know that the walk's going to make me feel good and the wine is just kind of a comfort thing or whatever, or a luxury thing, however that makes me feel. It might not be the best choice. We make a wrong choice. And then we're like, man, why did I have that glass of wine? Now I want two. And then you wake up with a headache. You know what I'm saying? So we're in charge.
Right.
Yeah. And often our wisdom knows the right choice to make, but our ego says, I'm going to have the wine instead. So,
right.
Yeah. So that's where it starts to, we really make the difference when we decide. We're like, I'm making the wisdom because I am my own parent and I know what's good for me, and I'm going to use my wisdom and make these right choices because I feel better when I do so.
Right.
I know that's a long answer, but for somebody who's in a pickle and feeling like they have heartburn, milk is it's a good stopper. If that doesn't help, use the, Pepcid or whatever you're going to take, but don't be the person that says, yeah, chicken wings. I'm going to eat those super spicy chicken wings, but before I do that, I need to take a Pepcid. That's not the way. The body's already saying, hey, those chicken wings are too hot for me. Pick the teriyaki ones or something.
Right.
Not as spicy.
But you hit on a key point there about health, where so many people that they know something is bad for them, but what they do anyways is they prepare for the aftermath, like you said there. Oh, we're going out for hot wings. We're going to chug, some Pepcid AC or whatever, so then they can go do that. But then it minimizes their misery, so it's not as bad. Instead of, why not just avoid what causes the pain in the first place?
Right. And I think, there's a difference between when people are ready to receive something and when they're not, or they're not really paying attention, or it hasn't gotten so bad that they need to pay attention, right? So I think we're beginning to wake up, even as far as yoga and mindfulness, and, people are reaching for balance, mindfulness, yoga, all these things. 20 years ago, people were not talking about that stuff as much. So we're starting to wake up as a community, as a society, and we really want to take care of ourselves. But I think what's happening is there's some confusion around what that really means. So if anything, it is, let us start to listen to our bodies. You have permission to do that. Just because your buddies are going out for all the chicken wings doesn't mean you need to take a Pepcid and have all the chicken wings. Make a different choice. What doesn't give you heartburn? Make that choice. Whatever, chicken sandwich, or I don't know, whatever. But just make a different choice, because that one is not suiting your body, and your body speaks. And our body speaks in levels. So first you might get, a little bit of heartburn. Next, your body's going to be like, okay, well, now this heat is increased so much. So now I'm actually going to give you hives on your chest because I have so much heat. So now you're going to get red and blotchy, and you're seeing the blotches, and people are like, hey, you're blotchy. Body's getting louder. Okay. And then over time, maybe there's something else that happens heated related. That's hypertension or something. Now you're in the doctor, and now you've got medicine for that you have to take on a daily basis to get that under control. Body's speaking louder. Quit the chicken wings. And this is just a simple example. And do chicken wings do all those things to everybody? Heck no. This is just one little tiny thing so that you guys can start to understand, this is what the body does. It speaks a little bit. It says, hey, you have gas. Hey, what made me gas? Beans. Oh, beans must make me gassy. We have too many beans. Now I'm in pain, right? different levels. And so we need to listen to that, because the sicker we get and the worse we feel, that is our body saying, when are you going to listen? When are you going to listen? Are you listening now? Okay, well, I'm going to make it worse until you do.
Right. And you hit on something very important there, is with the example that there's not a one size fits all. So what can upset one person is perfectly fine for somebody else, which is why if you think about diets out there, you have to listen to your body to discover what works, because what might be amazing for somebody to be in optimum health is horrible for someone else.
Yes, that's exactly point spot on with Ayurvedic eating. Is we eat according to who we are as people. And if that's confusing for anybody and it's a bit more than you can handle, eat for the season that we're in, because nature is bigger than us. And we're designed to follow nature because we are part of nature. So if that's confusing, just hit the farmer's market and buy whatever's in season. And you're going to get close to eating good for yourself, foods from nature, foods in season that are balancing for us.
Right.
Right? Yeah.
Definitely. Now, then, because you have a family, how do you balance with the Ayurvedic eating when there's multiple people and there's multiple tastes and multiple things that people like and dislike? How do you create balance there?
Yeah, I love this question. It's my favorite question. I actually did a video on this because I had so many people saying, how do I cook for my family? Do I have to make all these different meals for everybody? No. In Ayurveda, there's something called the 6 tastes. It is sweet, sour, salty, pungent, bitter, and astringent. You don't have to memorize all those. Just know that there's 6 tastes. And through these 6 tastes, they bring different qualities into the body to either build the body or squeeze. Like there's some parts that need to be squeezed and toned, right? There's some parts that need to be warmed up. There's some parts that need to be cooled down, all that stuff. Anyways, the tastes do a lot of different things. And so in Ayurveda, we make a big meal. We make a meal that includes all the tastes. So like you won't just serve a big thing of mac and cheese to the whole family, because not everybody's going to benefit from that. But you might do mac and cheese and you'll have a side of vegetable, like steamed vegetable, zucchini or something. You might have, another kind of vegetable that goes along with it. So it's complementary. So people can build their plates. Oh, and you might also have some sriracha sauce or something you could put on the mac and cheese to spice it up for somebody that needs heat. Mm-hmm. Right? So what you would do is you make a meal that's very well-rounded, or tacos are awesome because you can build your own tacos. Like build the plate according to who you are as a person and of what type of tastes you need the most. So for example, very light and windy people need sweet taste, which is grounding, which is carbs, because in Ayurveda, like increases like. So we use the opposite qualities to balance. So the light and windy people are going to need heavier foods to keep them grounded, keep them from imbalancing in a light and airy way.
Right.
Okay? So people will you'll just build your plate a little bit differently, and everybody's plate will look slightly different based on what's good for them. And that's it. You just make a well-rounded meal. I think also we get stuck Western eating gets stuck in our ruts of just eating like, okay, pizza. Well, there's not a lot of variety in pizza. Like it's a lot of sweet taste. And sweet taste is the builder. And what is one of the most, the biggest problems that we have in the Western world is obesity. We're overbuilt.
Right.
Right. So it's just a balance problem. We're eating too much of that and not enough of the others. You need the pungent, you need the astringent and bitter, which are the bitter greens and I hate to say salads. Ayurveda doesn't really tout salads much. It doesn't tout salads in the way we eat a big salad. You could have like a little salad, little greens. That's all you need of that stuff. And vegetables. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So anyways, I told you Ayurveda is big. Byron, we could talk about this for like 40 days straight and we would not be done.
Oh, I'm sure it is. But you think about most topics like that, you can dive in and do so much with it.
Yeah.
But what it comes down to with anything, it's how do you, I like to say you create abundance instead of balance, because you think about balance, it means you're offsetting something else. So how can you abundantly do certain things? So when you think about, you have everything you're doing, with this here, you're practicing this lifestyle, but then at the same time, you have all these other components in your life. You have your family, you're building a business. how are you creating abundance in each of those areas without, let's say, losing your sanity?
Well, it's a little hard. I'm a little insane. I'm just kidding. Well, you fit it in. You've got to have your priorities, and not everything can be a priority. So when I was writing my book, so I released a book last October while having a full-time job at a 2.5-hour daily commute and pets and kid and the whole deal. And I was doing dishes one night, and my husband was like, why are you not writing your book? And I was like, why are these dishes there? This is a mess, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, look, somebody else is writing an Ayurvedic book and they have a messy house. Who cares? And I was like, dang. So it's priority. When I was in that book, I would do everything that I needed to do, and I needed to be fully present for everything that I did. I didn't halfway. If I was going to do halfway, I just didn't do it at all. Right?
Right.
So even if I was cleaning the kitchen, I'd look at the clock and be like, you have 10 minutes to clean this kitchen and make it as good as you can in 10 minutes. And then you're doing the book. And so I carved out that time to get the book done. I would spend nights where I would stay up until midnight or 1 a.m. I had a physical hourglass that was 30 minutes long, and I would flip it over. And I would say, so for anybody who struggles with time management, I highly recommend a real hourglass. They have them. They're very pretty. I had a glass one with black sand. 30 minutes. And I would sit down and I'd be like, did I pee? Do I have tea? Do I have water? Do I have my music? Do I have my pencils? Do I have my stuff? Do I have my computer? Everything's in set. Yep, go. And I'd flip it. And I wouldn't be able to move my butt from that seat until the sand was gone.
Wow.
And sometimes I would, and then quick, I would try and go for 90-minute stretches if I could without a pee or without a break, and so when it flipped, I would quick check myself. Quick, do I have water? Do I have tea? Do I have anything? Because now's the time to do it because you have to get back to work. I'd be like, I'm good. Flip it. And then I'd flip it over again. And then I had to sit there with my butt in the chair for another 30 minutes working until that sand was gone. And I would try and do that for 90-minute increments before taking a break. And that's what got me through the book.
Wow. Now, that's incredible in that aspect. Because you recognize a simple concept of blocking out your time, and then also realizing that not everything has to be perfect in the world around you. But if you think about it, as you're writing it, does it matter if let's say the kitchen counter's not sparkling clean? Well, no, because that can be taken care of at any time. That's your focus effort. And you think about how many times throughout life people are trying to multitask, but then they're just doing an average or mediocre job at everything instead of putting all attention towards one task until it's complete.
That's right. Well, and I struggle with that still too, because I've got monkey mind just like anybody else, but I do meditation on the bus, right? Like either I do that or I get up extra early before I take the dog out for her little run, and I'll sit for 10 minutes and I'll do my meditation there, but I have to do it. And if I don't, I don't feel good. I feel bad. I feel scattered. I get grouchy. My brow starts to go, get cranky. So for anybody out there, time management, you've got to pick a couple things that are necessary for today to move you forward, and you just do those things. And if it's not going to move you forward, it can wait until you get the other things done. Also in talking about balance, can I give the group some tips, Byron?
Oh, definitely.
So, there are things that we do. There are things that we do in our lives where we're feeling really good. And like to say, in our element, right? It's the name of my book, In Your Elements. And when you're feeling in your elements, you're like, everything's making sense. Like I feel good in my physical body. My mind is open. It's creative. I feel like smiling. I feel like life is flowing. It's easy. Things are coming to me. And then there's the reverse of that, right? Then you're like, nothing works. I'm totally grouchy. I feel uncomfortable in my body, whether too heavy, too skinny, not the right shape, blah, blah, blah. I'm angry. I'm stressed. You get all this negative stuff. So when I get into the space of the negative stuff, I say, wait a minute. When I'm feeling awesome, what are those things that I'm doing when I'm feeling awesome? And I say, oh yeah, I'm doing my meditation. Oh yeah, I'm doing yoga practice or ballet, or I'm going for run walks or something. I'm moving my body. Oh yeah, I'm not drinking coffee because for some reason coffee jacks me up and makes me grouchy. I'm not eating meat. For me, eating meat can make me grouchy over a period of time. And that's just for me. It's not, and Ayurveda is not even necessarily vegetarian. So don't worry about that. There's no judgment. There's no critique. But anyways, I make this list of stuff that I do when I'm feeling awesome. When I'm feeling awesome, I'm doing all these things so that when I get into a place where I'm not feeling awesome, I go, wait, where's my list? And I go to my list and I go, oh yeah, there's all my things. Am I doing those things? No. Shoot. Okay, good. Let's bring them back. And that is like true empowerment. Like how cool. And you guys, you can create that for yourselves. Like you could create that right now. All the things that make you feel awesome. For example, even for me, it's like drawing on paper, doodling on paper, writing on paper instead of using the computer makes me feel so much better. Mm-hmm. So,
go ahead.
Yeah. No, so little things like that, because nobody's going to be able to tell you those things.
Right.
It comes from you. We're all going to have our own different list of what makes us feel in our elements. We're all going to have a different list of what pulls us out of that and makes us, pulls us out of the grouchiness so that we can feel better more often.
Right. And you hit it on the head there, is that there's a different path for everybody in terms of what works with their body, what works in terms of productivity, all of it to get to a destination that you can look at things to get an idea, well, what should you be doing? But at the end of the day, you have to go off of how does your body feel doing it?
Yes. Yes, because for some people, they're like, oh my God, the best thing I can do is eat a chicken wing. I feel amazing when I eat a chicken wing. Like the spicier, the better. For some people, we're like, no, I have heartburn when I eat a chicken wing. It's totally unique to the person. So the best thing we can do is listen to ourselves. Even if you don't know a lick about Ayurveda, you know in your body what feels good when you're doing it, and you know what doesn't. So do the stuff that makes you feel good more often, and you'll be pretty good.
Right. And with all the talk of chicken wings, just be mindful that, you might be driving around town later and you think like, ooh, look, chicken wings. And before you know it, you're having chicken wings.
We'll manifest chicken wings. I'll get phone calls from the chicken wing company saying like, hey, thanks for boosting our sales.
Right. And that's right. Now it's official. Monica B. Chicken wing explosion.
Oh, God. The Ayurveda community would not be happy with me if I was touting chicken wings, but hey.
Right, whatever works.
Yeah.
So, you started building your business, on Ayurveda. What were some of those things that you found to work extremely well to build up your business to this point?
Well, I'll be really honest. I'm kind of clueless as far as building up business. So the only thing I really knew how to do was teach from my heart and be completely authentic to who I am. Like there is no doubt, my fans, my followers, my readers, they feel like my friends. They're all around the globe. I know them. We horse around with each other. They send me funny emails. I used to say that if you're waking up and pooping first thing in the morning to give me a virtual high five, I have people emailing me, like giving me a high five. I pooped this morning. So I didn't know a lick about business. I'm telling you, until not even a year ago, I didn't even know about list building. And I've been writing about Ayurveda for 8 years. Like I just had a day job and I was like, if I write good content, people will just show up and they'll come and they'll click on the thing that says sign up for my newsletter. Like I didn't know a lick about anything, but what I got is I kind of created a home for them. If you go to my website, you see it, you feel it. I got all my graphics on there. And I think that, and I share enough personal stories, but enough to be valuable for other people so that it's not just all about me and what I've done and my opinions and stuff, because I don't feel like that's always useful for people. They're looking to use this for their own life.
Right.
So I make it digestible. I make it fun. I'm totally me. And that's all I really know how to do. And now I'm starting to build business because now I'm like, geez, I got to sell books. Like, how do I get my message out there? You're right. Like, how do I get my message out? How do I grow this thing? Because I want to do this as my full-time job.
Right.
This is my job. This is my life's work. So now I got to figure it out. Yeah.
But you did something which is extremely powerful. You took action. You didn't know necessarily the how about, any of it, but you did it regardless. And that's what holds so many people back. They're focused, I don't know how to do this. I don't know how to do that. Well, you just get started. And you're going to attract people to your message. The only thing you are an expert at in the beginning is, you. You spent your whole life being yourself, so you have to stay focused at that.
I love that. Yeah, be an expert on you, no matter what your delivery. Some people are very serious and very, accurate and almost dry in their approach, but like they're gonna attract those people that love that learn that way, that respond to that. So there is no good or bad. And even as far as topics go, like there are people that are looking for what you've delivered. And I think that's the beauty. And what I'm beginning to understand is I don't need to attract the entire world to what I'm doing. I need to attract the people that think like I do, that learn like I do, that are looking for the same thing that I was, because I can speed up their learning process and help them start to heal themselves and live their lives better, faster.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's the most important thing, that you have a message and you just started taking steps, being authentic to put it out there, and you attracted a tribe of people in the process.
Yeah.
And now it's a matter of, what are the things that you need to take it even higher than where it was? But you still did the most important thing, and that was simply taking action to get started. Yeah. Where some people get stuck.
I have another dumb story. If you want to hear a dumb failure story, it's kind of fun. I started my blog and I just kept writing and I just kept writing. I started in 2008, and finally in 2010, somebody wrote to me and they were like, "Hey, Monica, I tried to comment, but I can't comment. Like, do you have your comments turned on?" And I was like, "What? Oh, no." And then I was like, well, maybe people were reading it after all. They just couldn't comment on it. So for almost 2 years, I was pretty much writing a blog with my comments turned off. Turned off. Anyway, whatever. It didn't stop me. So even like nothing will stop me. I just launched, I'll tell you about it. I launched a new course actually yesterday, and things were going all weird with like how to, anyway, there was this buy button that you're supposed to be able to delay so people can watch the whole video first or most of the video. And then the buy button pops up and I really wanted, apparently they got rid of that feature. Like the company got rid of that feature. And I was like, oh my God. And I was like, you know what? Nothing's stopping me. I'm just going to leave the button there. It's fine. People were not always using buy buttons that pop up right at the right time. It's fine. Get it out there. Like, just do it. And so it didn't stop me. And I launched my stuff anyways. I'm very excited to share it with people. And you just keep going. Like, I'm just not easily, I don't know. I know Ayurveda. Like, I know it's my path. I know it to my core. Nothing's going to stop me. I'm doing it forever. I'm going to be a student forever. Great. And then just keep going.
Right.
Yeah.
So now as we begin to wrap things up here, what's one thing that people can do to take a lesson out of Ayurveda to start creating improvements or changes in their life?
I have two things. First thing is have a big lunch. Make lunch your biggest meal of the day because it's when we have our most digestive firepower. So the sun is the brightest and strongest it's going to be in the sky. That is the granddaddy-o of all fires. Then we have pitta energy. Remember that energy I mentioned before, which has fire in it, is strongest at noon, at lunchtime. And our digestive fire behind our belly button responds to that. So it grows too. So we have the most digestive power at lunchtime. And most of us skimp on lunch and we cheat. We go right through it. We just keep going on meetings or whatever we're doing. But I'm telling you, got to stop and have your biggest meal at lunch and then have your light dinner. Because at night, the sun goes down and there's no more fire. And so most of us skip and we're starving by night and we're like, and we eat a bunch of food late in the day, but we don't have any more digestive fire left to digest it because the fire starts to go to sleep along with the sun. It sets with the sun. So that's tip number one. Big lunch, biggest meal of the day. And then dinner should be small, like half the size. Okay, you can eat the same kind of foods, but have it half the size. My other tip is go to bed by 10 o'clock p.m., period. Because that pitta energy, you guys are going to think it's all just about pitta energy. It's not. There's plenty of other stuff. But the energy of transformation is pitta, and it starts at around 10 o'clock p.m., And so how many of you have been watching TV or whatever, or you're doing something and all of a sudden you get a second wind and it's like 10 o'clock or 10:15 and you're like, I'm going to go clean the closet. I'm going to organize my socks. I got to do laundry. I have a great idea for work. Ooh, I'm going to hop up on my laptop because I forgot to, I want to write it down. I want to get started on it. And before you know it, it's midnight. And you're like, well, I'm just a night owl. I get all my good stuff done at night. Well, no, you just stayed up into pitta time, which is transformation time. And during pitta time, our body transforms all of our food, emotions, thoughts, and everything from the day, transforms it, and it gets it ready to poop out first thing in the morning. I mean, it's literally whatever. It's not quite that literal, but it kind of is. And so if we don't sleep before that, our body does all the processing anyway. So then we start reliving stuff from the day, or we think about stuff we need to organize, and we sort it all out. We do things like that. So, and then it keeps us up too late, and then we can't wake up in the morning. And then that calls for a really sluggish day. So bed by 10. And then because the energy before 10 o'clock is actually slow energy, it's called kapha, and it puts us to sleep. So many of us are actually tired by like 8:30 or 9 o'clock, but we're looking at our watches and we're like, I got so much to do, I can't go to bed yet. Or I don't want to go to bed yet because I just got home from work or whatever. And so we make ourselves stay up a little bit longer or watch a show so that we feel like we have some me time. But if we're feeling tired, that energy is supposed to put us to sleep for a reason. So those are my two things. Big lunch, small dinner. Go to bed by 10 o'clock.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah.
And then what's a resource that people can utilize to learn more about Ayurveda?
Oh, you got to go to my website. So heymonicab.com is a great website for beginners, for anybody who's just learning Ayurveda. I also have a book. It's called In Your Elements, which you can get from my site, or it's on Amazon. And then I just launched a 6-part course. It's called Create Your Best Life. And it's a 6-week self-paced course. It never expires. So I just launched that. I'm super excited. And I kind of walk you through the book, all the basics of Ayurveda. What I would advise is if you're going around seeking more information about Ayurveda online, try not to get overwhelmed. There's also some stuff online that's not necessarily true, because Ayurveda, people are starting to market with it now, so not everything is authentic and true. Okay, so just be mindful of that. Don't be overwhelmed and confused. If you have questions, you can go to heymonicab.com and you can send me an email, ask me any questions you like.
Oh, no, that's awesome. Well, I want to thank you for coming on to the Big Movement podcast today and sharing all your information and knowledge about Ayurveda and then creating abundance in your life in the process.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. It was great. You're a great host, Byron. I love to come to your podcast house.
Thanks for listening to the Big Movement Podcast today. And be sure to subscribe so you don't miss an episode. Now that you've surely been inspired to take your entrepreneurial career and business to the next level, you can stop by the website and get more. And if you're ready to boost your business brand, be sure to grab your free report, 7 Easy Steps to Build Your Brand Today.